This program on investing under regulation crowdfunding is not investment advice.
Rising with the crowd, power unbound, change makers lead where hope is found. Superpowers for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Supercross stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Welcome to the Superpowers for Good live pitch tonight, where you are the shark. So this is going to be fun. We have 4 great companies pitching tonight. This is really an exciting opportunity for us, and I want to thank you all for being here. Stick around. Remember, these are companies that you can invest in, and you don't have to invest $10,000. Some of you don't even need to invest $1,000. Some of these are very affordable initial investments. You should be paying attention. This is an opportunity to make money and do some good in the world. I want to thank my colleague Chandan Saha, who does so much work to make this show possible. He's the producer of the show and just absolutely phenomenal human being. He's kind of in the background, but we're grateful for him and his work. We've got 3 great judges, all professional investors, all managing money for other people. And so these are real, genuine experts. First among them is Teddy Lyons, who's covering for his colleague Leah Bollier-Gautreau. But Teddy is a senior investment associate at King's Crowd with experience in venture capital and investment banking at Deutsche Bank and Alchemy Capital. He holds degrees from Wesleyan University and Boston College. I mean, he's as smart as they come, and also a varsity soccer captain. I'm a little jealous. And we also have with us Woody Neese, a serial entrepreneur, investor, and crowdfunding expert. He literally helped write the law that governs regulation crowdfunding, that the regulation that governs what we're doing tonight. This is the guy. So, I mean, we are so fortunate to have him with us. Now he manages a fund of his own that he's raised to put money into these sorts of deals. It's just a wonderful privilege for us to have Woody Neese on the program as a judge. And Paul Lovejoy is an extraordinary human being who is a registered investment advisor, helping people manage their money with a focus on shifting it out of Wall Street investments into investments like regulation you can do with regulated investment crowdfunding. Just an extraordinary human being. He spent a year mastering the art of investing in Reg CF by making an investment literally every day for 366 straight days. What a guy. What a guy. We're just thrilled to have him as one of our judges today. And with that, we're going to get started in just a minute, but we're going to come back in just a minute and with our first pitch from John Burlett at Tax Deeds LLC. You don't want to miss this. Stick around. This is going to be great.
Join us for Super Green Live, where climate capital meets action, January 22nd through 24th. Register at supergreenlive.org. Digital Niche Agency is the top investor acquisition agency. DNA has helped founders raise over 9 figures via regulated investment crowdfunding with a 3-pronged strategy using digital advertising, content marketing, and strategic outreach. Book a call today.
You don't need a pitch deck. You need a following. Because in this era, the crowd is the capital. Raise from your fans. Turn customers into shareholders. Launch your round on your terms. Dealmaker. Equity crowdfunding for the new era.
Welcome back, everyone. I am so excited to introduce you to John Burlett. John spoke at SuperCrowd 25, and it was intriguing to me the attention he got because he has such an interesting, compelling offering. It really did kind of steal the show. So it'll be fun to see what the judges think tonight when the real pressure is on. But John is the founder of Tax Deeds LLC and president of Tandem Trust Financial Group. He has over 30 years of experience in real estate and retirement planning. He specializes in Texas tax deed foreclosures, transforming overlooked properties into strong investor returns. Really a specialized niche, but boy, I tell you, he's got some cool things going on. So let me bring John onto the stage here. There we go. There's John, and here's John's slides. So, where did John go? There we go. There we go. John, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to turn the time over to you, and you can get started with your pitch, and then we'll give the judges an opportunity to ask you some questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Devin, for the introduction. Welcome, sharks and judges. My name is John Burlett. I'm fund manager and founder of Core Tax Deeds based in Rockport, Texas. So imagine that you own property in Texas, and for some reason or another, you haven't paid your property taxes in a couple of years. You get notices from the tax office, but for some reason they don't get paid, and this goes on for a while and builds up penalties, and it's a significant amount of money. And next thing you know, you get a notice that the county has turned the account over to a law firm to collect the back taxes. That's what tax deeds are about. In Texas, each state's different, but basically in Texas, the law firm files a suit, a judgment's rendered. Typically, the properties are 2 to 3 years delinquent before they turn them over to the litigation team. Once the judgment's rendered, then the district courts issue what's called a sheriff's sale. And in Texas, they hold these sheriff sales in each of the 254 counties on a monthly basis. By state statute, the sales are conducted at 10 a.m. on the first Tuesday of the month. And typically they're live in person at the courthouse steps. Now, the trend now is slowly, about 20% of the counties now conduct them online. So that's a good thing. So what happens if your property goes to the courthouse auction steps and it's bid off, the high bidder, in some cases, my company, we pay the whatever amount. It's a bid up process. So in the event your property gets sold in Texas, if it's not a homestead, if it's not an ag exempt or mineral right, the redemption period is a short 180-day window. So you get 6 months to pay pay me what we paid at the sale plus a flat 25% penalty. It's not an interest, it's a penalty, and it's applicable the first week or the 5th month. So let me back up just a little bit. Ad valorem property taxes are the highest priority lien on the property, higher than your mortgage. The only thing that's higher that exceeds that survives the tax sale is the IRS. So the sheriff conducts the sale. The new owner receives something called sheriff's deed. And I'll show you what that looks like here if I can get my slides moving. This is a copy of the actual sheriff's deed on a property that we purchased. And I'd like to go back one slide now and tell you this was my mentor, W. Clement Stone. Some of you may have heard of Mr. Stone. He died at age 100, probably 25 years ago, but he was a very successful president of the Boys Club of America, Mr. PMA. I worked for his company right out of at 18 years old, matter of fact, right after I got out of the Army. And one of the things I learned from Mr. Stone is you can't expect what you don't inspect. And that's so true in every aspect of life. This property we bought at a tax sale. Very few properties we buy are houses, I should mention. We bought 24 properties and only 4 had improvements on them. Absolutely none of our 24 properties had anybody occupying the property. And in my entire career, 30 plus years, 80 plus properties, we've never bought a property that had any humans occupying the property. We've had a lot of animals and bugs and this and that, but This property went for sale in Corpus Christi, Texas. The prior owner had passed away, and I got a hold of the daughter who had filed an affidavit of heirship. She was on the title, and so I reached out to her before the auction, and she explained to me that she was estranged from her parents, hadn't seen them in over 10 years, hadn't seen the house, didn't have the money to pay the taxes. And so I felt pretty good that it wasn't going to get pulled. A lot of the properties will get paid at the last minute, the Friday before the sale on Tuesday, or even Tuesday morning of the day of the auction. But in this case, clearly she wasn't going to pay the taxes. She wasn't able to. So we got a sheriff's deed in May. We bought this property in May. We found it was full of treasures and clutter. This picture on my left shows what I guess the living room, dining room looked like. There was a motorhome in the backyard. The day of the auction, one of my managing partners and I went to the property. We got in the window and we discovered, there was a mess. There was a motorhome in the backyard. You can see I demolished the motorhome, had it removed. It had some violation code from the city, and those only thing that survives auction in Texas is the IRS lien and municipal liens. So I had to deal with this and get it removed pretty quickly. My point here is the gentleman who passed away that owned this house had a mortgage. I found the mortgage. Are we out of time already? This is what the house looks like now. After just 4 months, we bought it in May, and we'll be renovating it. Actually, we plan to add a second bathroom. It's currently a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 2-car garage. We've submitted plans to the city to add a second bathroom. One of our partners in this space makes it a lot easier to do our diligence when we're out in the field. This is a company called Partial Seller. This is a property that's growing. We're going to be bidding on next week that I looked at. And what I want to show you is a couple things. It's 6.48 acres. Opening bid is $3,500 or so. The assessed value is $64,000. The assessed values in Texas tend to be historically a little bit less than the market value.
Okay, John, I'm going to ask you to pause.
Okay.
And we're going to bring our judges on and let them get started with you here.
Right.
Teddy, why don't you get us started?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hello, John. Thanks for the presentation. So I did some digging on your website, and on it, you emphasize that your model is not traditional house flipping, but you do mention, and as you showed us, sometimes clean up or improve the properties for resale. So how do you decide where the line is between minimal improvements and more capital-intensive renovations? And how do you prevent a tax deed acquisition turning into a costly flip project?
Actually, I look at it just the other way. I look at it as an opportunity. If we're buying a property right, in that scenario, the house I was describing, we paid $29,000 and some change, and it's not our primary model. You're correct. We bought 24 properties. Only 4 have houses. 2 are tear downs. So we're really focused on the dirt. But I think your question is allocating funds toward rehab or renovation. In this case, there's a lot more goes into the determination. Of course, I have a management team that I bounce the opportunities off of. But this project has an ARV value of about 2.25. We're in it for now with 5 windows, some cleanup, paint, permit, engineering for somewhere just north of $45,000. I believe we can take it to full renovation for another $50,000, which will provide around $100,000 upside in the event we take it to full renovation. We just put it on the market. We won't be able to sell it till November because it's subject to a 6-month redemption. We bought it in May. So there's a lot of decisions that have to be made along those lines between now and the next 45 days.
Great, great, great. Thoughtful question and a great response. Woody, do you want to go next?
Sure. John, great job. When I first heard of tax deeds, I honestly thought it was like a legal plot for a drama, but indeed, you show me its real opportunity. So kudos to that. It's interesting because it's clearly the business model is just obvious. I guess my question comes down to like you've shown that you've been able to provide distributions already, which is great because that's what investors really want to see is returns. My question really comes down to is how sustainable is that yield over time?
Okay, thanks for that question, Woody. And because we're focused on dirt and we're buying at under 30 cents on the dollar, our goal is to resale after the redemption period is up, which is 180 days. It's a little bit unpredictable. Land is typically a longer selling cycle. However, when we're pricing it at 80 cents or 70 cents on the dollar, it tends to increase that selling cycle period. As far as our track record, we're this week paying out our third quarterly distribution based on our sixth sale. We've had one property redeemed, which generated a nice profit, and we've had 5 go full cycle and 1 pending. So thankfully, we're now just a year and a half into this venture and generating profits. So there are no guarantees this will continue, but certainly a very promising target returns when you keep our we have no debt, we have no salaries. We're at the place now where we need to scale and look for a fractional CFO to help with some of these financial determinations that are facing us as we grow. We have 2 tranches of investors. Anybody who invests now only participates in properties we acquired as of May 1st, which is 7 properties. So we have to keep track of that set of properties and that set of investors. The early investors participate in all the properties until as long as the fund is open and buying. Hopefully I answered that in a roundabout way, Woody. Thank you for the question.
Thanks, John.
All righty, Paul, what do you want to know?
Well, John, you found a way to make tax deed investing actually appealing to me. I can make this type of investment without displacing families or the elderly who are particularly vulnerable to this type of situation. As you mentioned, the deeds are from vacant land or abandoned homes, avoiding displacement. Now, I just want to recognize and acknowledge this. However, this offering also seems complex with the different steps in the processes for the average person. Is it? If not, why is this less complicated than a typical startup investment?
It does have some complexity to it. I'm not allowed to discuss the terms, as you know, on this platform, but all the terms are fully disclosed, and I'm happy to discuss the formulas, how we distribute the profits when we're on our offering portal. And I'll get to that hopefully if time allows later in the presentation. Absolutely believe we have 31 investors at this point, passive investors, and they seem to get it. They don't quite get it right away. I don't think they're also, I would guess out of the 31 passive investors, maybe 10 of them might be accredited. And I don't know that for a fact, just knowing my clients, I have that kind of a guess. But they do have questions like you do, Paul. It's a very valid question, how the profits are distributed. But again, I don't believe I'm allowed to go into that in much detail.
Well, that's not really what I was asking. I was asking about how it's different than investing in a startup company.
Well, I believe we're still considered a startup. We're just a year and a half old. We're starting to have a little bit of a track record, nothing extensive or nothing that real massive RIAs are going to start sending money our way. But now we have, I think we're somewhere beyond a startup, a proven model, and it's sustainable because we have 254 counties in Texas, over 15,000 properties go to delinquent tax sales a year. So there's a lot of room to scale. I hope that comes closer to answering your question.
Nice,
All righty. Well, we've got enough time for another question or two. Teddy, do you have any other questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Teddy. Go ahead, Teddy.
Yeah. So I'm just curious if you can, it was kind of part of my first question, but just kind of drill more into it about the difference between house flipping, because we see a lot of funds and different type of opportunities in the equity crowdfunding space that are really focused on like house flipping. And it seems that tax deeds and the way that you're doing it is quite a bit different. So curious kind of your thoughts on the kind of difference between the two.
Great. Yeah, so I'm totally focused on dirt. I'm a landman. One of my managing partners is a woman, so we're landman and land women on our team. That's what I know best. I don't like people, problems, plumbing, not really focused at all on houses. But when we can buy them right and make the type of returns that we want to make for our investors and for ourselves, we're not going to shy away as long as they're not homestead properties where we're displacing occupants. There's I do have a team in place that can oversee this renovation, but think of it, we've got 24 properties, 4 had homes. Of those 4, 2 were tear downs. We've got 2 renovations out of 20. That's 10% of our portfolio. It's not a model. We're not what we're chasing. We're chasing acreage, infill lots. And by the way, I didn't get to this point yet, but we're not competing in the metro markets. We don't compete in Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio. The competition is fierce. And we're in the tertiary markets where our impact is much louder, more effective for the smaller tertiary markets. These are sizable communities, 80,000 people. In Corpus, where that house I showed you on this presentation is, population is 350,000. So we're not, strictly rural. Most of the land is rural, which is great. I found a strategy, really, I focus on properties that most likely are deceased property owners. In many cases, the heirs are can't agree on who's going to pay their share of the property taxes if they can even be found. A lot of heirs can't be found. The Texas laws indicate that there's some heir, it could be a third distant cousin, but somebody's entitled to that property, and the law firms do their best to find those people. But some families don't have heirs. The world has changed, and it's affected the opportunity in the tax deed world pretty big way.
Fantastic. I a great conversation. I really appreciate that. I want to encourage everyone to check out coretaxdeeds. Scan the QR code that you see on the screen. That's where you can go see all the deal terms and make an investment right now if you want. Or just visit s4g.biz/core, s4g.biz/core. Just a little short URL, take you right to the offering page. I invite you to check it out. I also want to invite everyone, regardless of how much you may be interested in investing, if you're interested in investing tonight, after this session, we'll be having a private investor session where you can ask questions, including in a private session, you can ask questions about the deal terms and understand how it works and how the return is structured. So I encourage you and invite you all to join us for that session. The QR code is on the screen now, so you can scan that to register. You need to register. It's free. Anyone who wants to invest can join us to have that conversation. So just visit s4g.biz/investor. That's s4g.biz/investor, or scan the QR code. With that, I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, our next pitching company, who will be Lisa Marino of Dopple. And Lisa is an impressive entrepreneur. She is the first person in her Mexican immigrant family to graduate from college and has proven herself repeatedly to be a resilient entrepreneur as a single mom and facing, other challenges, part of what makes her so effective in her current work. She has Wharton and Stanford degrees. She built and sold companies and handcrafted her own home and still lives by the motto, no friends on powder day. So with that, let me bring Lisa onto the stage so we can turn the time over to her. And Lisa, welcome. Let's see. Let's unmute you. There we go.
Okay. Thank you. I'm incredibly glad to be here.
Well, thank you. Oh, I just remembered we need to take a break. So take a deep breath. We're going to take a quick break we got to recognize the sponsors or I'm in trouble. So we'll be right back, Lisa. I'm glad you're ready to go.
Join us for Super Green Live, where climate capital meets action, January 22nd through 24th. Register at supergreenlive.org.
Your community isn't just support, it's capital. It's belief, loyalty, and dollars. Turn your customers into shareholders. Let them own a piece of what they helped build. Grow together. Stronger, louder, funded, deal maker.
Digital Niche Agency is the top investor acquisition agency. DNA has helped founders raise over 9 figures via regulated investment crowdfunding with a 3-pronged strategy using digital advertising, content marketing, and strategic outreach. Book a call today. All righty. Okay, Lisa.
All right.
You got your act together. I'm glad one of us does. Take it away.
Well, first we've got to start by thanking the sponsors. All right. So hello, everybody. My name is Lisa Marino, and I am founder and CEO of Dopple. Hold on one sec. I need to figure out how to move the slides forward. Devin, they're not moving. The button isn't there anymore. Oh, here we go. Okay. So hello, everybody. I'm Lisa Marino, founder and CEO of Dopple. As a company, we're simplifying family funding for every age and at every stage. So many ask, how did the idea for Dopple come about? Reality was, it was 2002. I was finishing business school, planning a wedding, founded my first startup, and discovered unexpectedly I was having a baby. At the same time, just before my daughter was born, we lost our student health insurance. And by the time we delivered, well, we were on welfare and food stamps as Stanford MBAs. I learned then that the safety net was real, but impossible to navigate. Dopple is the map. Hold on. Something is going on here where I can't. Okay. Did you know that 2/3 of families live paycheck to paycheck? While there's tens of billions in government, philanthropic, and friends and family dollars going unused every single year. Dopple is the rails that connects these families to funding and streamlines access to every dollar. We start by aggregating funding sources, whether government, philanthropic, or friends and family networks. Then we match families with these funds they qualify for and simplify application processes. Ultimately, families get the help they need to cover the basics. And we're a real company. In 2024, we drove $1 million of revenue, and we've got 3 pilots in September and October of this year. 2 of the 3 pilots provide a national footprint and in success yield very low customer acquisition costs. With these 3 pilots alone, not only do we make our numbers for the next 2 years, but we crush them. From a TAM perspective, we are obviously in the family market. Halogen Ventures estimates that overall market on an annual basis is over 7.5 trillion. Our TAM within that market is over 80 billion. By serving just 1 million families per year, or 3% of the market, Dopple becomes a $1 billion company. Unlike a typical registry, which only monetizes discrete events such as the birth of a child, Dopple looks to monetize the other 99% of family expenses by expanding the sources of funding support. We make money in 3 ways. First, donor and gifter fees. That's a 5 to 10% margin. We also have product sales. So think diapers, formula, clothing. That is on average a 30% margin. Last is advertising sponsorships. All gifting and registry sites have a significant component of their revenue coming from brands that they partner with. In addition, Dopple's on track to be profitable by the end of 2026 and will be an attractive acquisition candidate by the end of 2027. By 2030, revenue soars to nearly $140 million as we serve 140,000 families, which represents just 0.4% market penetration. Because of scaled customer acquisition costs, CAC stays strong and very low at 150 per family. Our net margin per family fuels the model and our profitability. Dopple stands out relative to our competitors because we help families fund themselves over time due to our unmatched funding depth. If you take a look at our matrix, which I'm having a hard time moving slides forward, you would see, let's keep going. If you take a look at our competitive slides, you'd see our funding depth relative to our competitors is substantial. In addition, our feature table, which tracks how Dopple compares itself from a technology and a strategic perspective to our competitors, is really unparalleled. We've got a patent pending today on end-to-end payments and SKU management by family, by product, and by donor. And that's a very complex problem to solve, and it's unmatched in the marketplace. At a management level, our 3 C-level execs are a proven team, and we've been together for over 13 years. We scaled RockU from 15 million to 150 million in revenue over 4 years very profitably, and then we sold it. I also sold my last company to McClatchy Media, which is a $1 billion revenue organization. They've also invested in Dopple's last 2 rounds as well. As a team, we're experts in product, e-commerce tuning, and the overall mom audience. As a 3-time entrepreneur, I care very much about strategic exits. And we do that in 2 ways at Dopple. First, we've got a great floor in McClatchy Media, who's not only the co-lead of this seed round, but they also led our angel round in 2024 because they believe in the vision and the team. McClatchy's acquisitive, bought my last company, and seeks profitable, high-growth opportunities, which Dopple will be within the next 12 months. Further, on the upside, we've got multiple pathways, a 50x return or better, given revenue and multiple strategic acquirer categories we fall into. So why should you invest in Dopple? 1, we've got proven investors who are already backing us, whether it's McClatchy, notable angels such as Jeremy Liu and Neil Dempsey, or even the state of New Jersey. I've also put over $1 million of my own money into the company. This round gets us to profitability, and we'll invest the funds to expand the platform and bring on customers within our pilots. Thank you very much, and have a great day, everybody.
Well, I am sorry for the difficulties with the slides there.
I didn't know if it was me or if it was the system, but
yeah, I don't know what happened.
We're good.
But you did a great job, improvising. I apologize for not being more helpful, but we're thrilled to
All
have heard
good.
you. Paul, why don't you start us off? What do you think? Oh, Paul, you might be muted.
Okay. I guess I'm up here. Yes, Lisa, I have
Yes.
to admit, when I first saw AI-powered fintech platforms for family funding, my initial thought was, wow, that's a lot of buzzwords in one sentence. But the more I dug in, the more I realized you're solving a real problem, helping families that are struggling to afford essentials.
Yep.
So you're building what appears to be 4 different products: registries, subscriptions, funding coordination, and service provider marketplace.
Yes.
Can you walk us through your technology roadmap and how you're avoiding the classic startup mistake of trying to do too much too early?
Well, first of all, we spent the last year building out the product, and the platform is very, it is complex, but we've simplified user experience so that these complex problems don't get overwhelming for the users. And from a tech perspective, everything's really driven off of how we manage products and SKUs as well as payments. So when you think about how like a family comes in and they build themselves a needs list, it could include strollers, a diaper subscription, doula services, any product or service that they need over time, college savings accounts, whatever. And so we need to track by family, by product, and by donor every single contribution so that when that stroller gets fully funded, we can then go purchase it on behalf of the family and make sure that they get it. So this concept of group gifting or fractionalized gifting is really the basis of our model. And it was tough to build, no doubt. But because we've got families needing to participate when they engage on the philanthropic side, there's also this huge element of virality that comes onto the platform. So families beget more families, and they help us bring them in at a very low customer acquisition cost. When I think about the model in general, we really use technology to bring in low-cost customers, and we create a very sticky experience for those families that encourage them to keep coming back.
Woody, do you want to go next?
Yeah, Lisa, great job. I love, like to what Paul was saying, when entrepreneurs build solutions to problems that they've experienced themselves. And so kudos to what you've built. I love, I'm a revenue guy. I believe, revenue is tied directly to customers.
Yep.
I always want to talk to the customers to find out why they are using this product or service, why they wouldn't use a different one. But on the flip side too, you talked about some astronomical growth in over the next few years, which sounds great. But which one of these revenue lines is going to make up the majority of that, and why?
So we actually look at it from a margin level, right? And so the 50% of all net revenue, so basically margin contribution, comes from our recurring purchases where we actually hold the inventory. So think diapers, clothing, formula. Those are the things that families need over time. And generally speaking, our entire platform is centered around handling these expenses that recur over time, whether it's childcare, whether it's college savings accounts, or clothing and diaper needs. And that's why people keep coming back to us. So what happens when a family comes into the system? Let's use a case study, right? Susie's having a baby. She comes in, she goes through and builds her annual budget. And at that point, she's saying this, I'm going back to work in 5 months. So these are going to be my childcare needs. I do want a diaper subscription. These are all the things that I want a doula, right? And I'd like my community to help pay for it. So we come up with a budget for her. Then she gets run through our matching system. So if she's eligible for federal funding or other state and local funding, we'll identify that and help her apply for it. And then if she's eligible for philanthropic, we will tie that philanthropic grant to her friends and family and herself contributing as well. And so that's how we create profit, virality, and get the families engaged to receive the help that we're bringing to the table.
Great. Thank you.
Fantastic. We are, Teddy, you're up.
All right. So something that really struck me on your raise page was where you said that billions in aid goes untapped every year. For example, the Child Care Development Fund, funds that are earmarked for these families. So my question is it's kind of multi-layered, but what are some other examples of these types of support funds? Why are they so underutilized and untapped today? And what is the process for finding new sources of philanthropic capital for your users year after year?
Well, so let's tackle the government side first, because that's the most straightforward. I don't know if you guys watched John Oliver, but he had a great segment on the big, beautiful bill. And one of the stats that I've known about, but that he shared with everybody was 40% of the families that are eligible for SNAP choose not even to complete the application process because it's so painful and so difficult to navigate. And so on the government side, you've got so many people just self-selecting out of the system. So by simplifying the application processes and making it clear what they're eligible for, you move that number up right away, no matter what. And then on the philanthropic side, you've got challenges in two areas. One, a lot of times when a grant is given to a not-for-profit, a significant portion of that grant goes to infrastructure for that not-for-profit. Because we're doing everything digitally and on a platform, we guarantee 90% of that donation goes directly to the family. There's only a 10% cut on the Dopple philanthropic side. And so there's an efficiency of money that should matter a lot to donors. In addition, there's an accountability, right? So the donor can go in and say, I only want to support families in New Jersey who need diapers or who need doulas. And they can be that specific as it relates to, what they want to back. And we've got the receipts because we're paying the doula or we're buying the diapers to say, this is exactly where your money went. So it's transparent and it's accountable. So we believe that's going to bring more dollars into the system, both from an efficiency perspective, but then when we get to not just philanthropic organizations, when you get to donor advised funds, there's billions of dollars going into donor advised funds every year, but there's not a place necessarily or a scalable execution for those dollars to get allocated. We provide a very simple solution that where the donor advised fund can pick and choose what they want to focus on. And we believe over time, that's going to, help us penetrate that market aggressively.
Excellent. We've got just another minute. Woody, do you want to ask another? Oh, wait, did we get Paul? I don't think we got Paul yet. Paul, did you ask a question?
I did.
Oh, boy, I tell you, it's been one of those days. Woody, do you want to ask again?
I'll just dig into the Amazon side of things. Sure. On Amazon, you can get the gifting thing. People can contribute. Listen, the solution that you have for the SNAP and everything, I think is brilliant. But, a lot of people, it's just easy just to go into Amazon. How does the price compare? Are you able to do things at a cheaper level? Is there some sort of efficiency in there that, happens better with you?
Sure. So Amazon's a great example. If you look at Babylist and anyone else in the industry, there is a common thread or a base piece of functionality, which everybody has, including us, which is I can go on to Amazon, find the links to anything I want, and we can drop it into a Dopple needs list, right? So that's, cribs, car seats, baby jumpies, onesies, whatever. And so, but what Amazon doesn't do very well is allow you to bring on items or bring on programs from anywhere, right? Because we're dealing with childcare, we're dealing with college savings accounts. This is a one-stop shop for all of that. The stuff, that's kind of the table stakes. That's the ante to the game. Nobody else is taking it to the next level. And stuff is a one-time purchase oftentimes. And then the concept of group gifting allows you to aggregate funds from a variety of sources. Maybe my 3 friends are helping on that stroller or that diaper subscription. Maybe the philanthropic side is picking up another 60%. And Amazon doesn't handle that, right? And Amazon doesn't handle services, and Amazon doesn't handle anything that's not on Amazon.
Great. Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. But before I do, let me say this. If you have not yet checked out Lisa's offering page on WeFunder, please do use the QR code there on the screen, or visit s4g.biz/Dopple to check it out. I hope you'll plan to join us for the investor session coming up immediately following the live stream. That's where you can ask our founders all of the personal, pertinent questions, including the deal terms questions that we can't talk about on television. So we're excited. Please plan to join us for that. If you want to join us for that, visit s4g.biz/investor to join that investor session afterward. And you don't need to be a $25,000 investor. If you want to join us, we'd love to have you. You can ask those pertinent questions that investors get to ask. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick break. So stick around. You don't want to miss this.
Join us for Super Green Live, where climate capital meets action, January 22nd through 24th. Register at supergreenlive.org.
Digital Niche Agency is the top investor acquisition agency. DNA has helped founders raise over 9 figures via regulated investment crowdfunding with a 3-pronged strategy using digital advertising, content marketing, and strategic outreach. Book a call today.
Don't pitch another VC. Pitch your people. The ones who get it. The ones who want in. Keep your vision. Keep your cap table clean. Own your raise. Every step, every share. Raise with Dealmaker. This is capital on your terms.
Hello, everyone. We are experiencing some extraordinary and unusual technical difficulties. And it turns out we're not going to be able to complete the show tonight. I'm terribly sorry. We're going to work with these magnificent entrepreneurs to reschedule and have them back, and we'll conduct this another time. It may be a week or 2 from now. By the time we can get everybody back on the same page, I apologize, but there is just some unavoidable technical difficulty. I am so sorry. I am so sorry that that's the case, but we're just not going to be able to recover tonight. I do hope you will forgive us and consider coming back when we do this again. This is such an amazing program that we have the opportunity to do. And those of you who are watching, we're grateful that you've taken the time to be here. And I apologize to you, but we've had some technical issues that we haven't been able to overcome. We've been scrambling in the background to overcome them. as we approach the halfway mark in the show, it's ridiculous to keep going with the technical problems that we're having. So we're going to suspend tonight, and we will come back after we announce a new time, but we'll make sure that we coordinate with the founders so they know and they can tell their communities. We'll talk to the judges and do the same with them. I apologize, but we will be back, and we will do this again. I'm sorry.